for billing can be a real game changer for a lot of businesses. Dynamic capacity and easy upgrades. We talked about that when we mentioned which applications and services were best for use in the cloud. Things like email and databases and storage and backup, where you can very quickly grow your data. Cloud can be just a tremendous benefit. Many small businesses run into surprises where they're caught off guard and find that they need to upgrade their server infrastructure quickly because the amount of data that they have has grown at an exponential rate and they weren't aware of it. And this is really common today because, you know what, small businesses and businesses in general and consumers are using more and more data and creating more and more data every day. It's pretty amazing that as storage capacity has become much more affordable, the applications to create and use just massive amounts of storage have also grown exponentially. So, you know, people are now obviously creating videos every day just with their smartphones and taking lots and lots of digital pictures and just doing types of things like that much more frequently that just use huge amounts of data and storage. So a small business, again, can be caught off guard with the sudden need for more servers or more hard drives, and that can be an expensive proposition. So by using cloud services, you can comfortably know that your capacity can easily be scaled up or down as you need it, and the billing will just go right along with it. Same for upgrades. So upgrading software can be a real pain in the neck for small businesses. I'm sure all of you have been through the process of deciding to upgrade your Microsoft Office licenses or your operating systems and having to purchase all of those upgrades and then having either an employee in your office or your IT service professional come and install and do all of those upgrades for you. It can be very time consuming and very expensive. Well, one of the best benefits of cloud computing is that because you no longer own the software, the licensing models have changed, and upgrades are oftentimes much easier to roll out to all of the users of a particular cloud application without having to go and do these individual upgrades. So typically on a cloud service, you're not even aware that the upgrades are happening, or it's just a quick box that you check, when you sign in for the day that says you have 2 upgrades available. Would you like to install them now? I mean, it's just much simpler access to these upgrades to keep you current and keep you using the latest technology without having to invest a lot of money. Increased security and data integrity. This is a big one. Most small businesses, unfortunately, just don't have the resources to invest in a really good IT environment. It's something that based on the investment required and why they're using that technology, there just becomes a practical limit to how much money they can put into having the ideal IT environment. And of course, that makes a lot of sense. However, it does come at a cost for small businesses. There's a lot of security issues that are open to small businesses that big businesses are able to invest in eliminating, that small businesses just can't afford to. And there's a lot of just general data integrity issues. I mean, most small businesses that I've run into have at one point or another had some sort of catastrophic failure of part of their IT environment that has cost them a lot of data and a lot of time and money in trying to recover that data. And it can be crippling to a small business. So by working with a cloud service and cloud-based applications, small businesses can take advantage of the IT infrastructure of these much larger companies, much more sophisticated IT environments that are literally having tens of millions of dollars poured into them to make sure that they are designed properly and have proper security. So I think most small businesses, security really is a concern to them with cloud computing, but we'll talk a little bit more here in just a minute about why I don't believe that that's really an issue that should prevent small businesses from taking advantage of cloud computing. And then finally here, decrease maintenance and lower total cost of ownership. Again, most small businesses, by having this IT infrastructure in-house, are tying up a lot of capital by doing so. They're tying up space in their offices, which can, depending on where you live, be very expensive. But, they're also spending a heck of a lot of money on either internal resources or outsourced vendors to manage that IT environment. And, I've made a living doing that, so I know that it's necessary for small businesses, but I also know that it can be very frustrating for small businesses. They just want the technology to work. They don't want to have to then invest, thousands or tens of thousands or more every year to keep it running properly. So as a professional that's in this industry, it's nice to be able to offer my clients solutions where the benefits to them include actually a lower total cost of ownership, because the more that I can provide them solutions with lower total cost of ownership, the more that they see me as a good resource to build their business with, and the more benefits they get from their technology. So cloud computing shifts a lot of that total cost of ownership and that maintenance work to, again, a much better an IT environment with a much better structure and much better management practices applied to it that, again, lowers that total cost of ownership for the small business. So now, of course, along with all the benefits, there are concerns and risks. And certainly with cloud computing, there are concerns and risks that you need to be aware of and that you need to look into carefully, although I do believe that these risks and concerns are being mitigated at a very, very fast pace as these major companies are investing more and more in making sure that cloud computing is set up properly for business use. The first one is privacy. You hear a lot of concern out there about, my data is now being shipped off to some service provider in the sky that's kind of nameless and faceless. How do I know, that they're actually securing the privacy of my data and my company information and not sharing that with other people, or not making sure that it gets into the wrong hands? And obviously, like I said, I think that these are real concerns and concerns that you need to look into. However, cloud computing providers are certainly aware that this is an issue and aware of the fact that their businesses will not be around long if they're not able to take care of your data. So I can assure you that cloud computing providers, are investing a tremendous amount of time, energy, and money into making sure that the privacy issue is a non-issue for their clients. Security is a big one as well, and it goes along with the privacy issue, right? So how do I make sure that my data doesn't fall into the wrong hands, that it's not destroyed by a malicious attack, or not being backed up when I thought it was being backed up? Again, all very real concerns. However, I think in my experience and what the statistics show that most small businesses are probably not aware of is that the far majority of security issues that you have as a business are actually from employees that are working in your office, and not from some malicious third party attacking you or your data and trying to steal it. It's an unfortunate reality that the majority of stolen data, damaged data, confidential information leaked to other vendors or suppliers or competitors actually happens by an employee who's disgruntled and on the way out the door decides that they're going to rip off or do some damage to their employer. So unfortunately, most small businesses do not have real good security measures in place at their office to be able to prevent this. In most cases, the server closet is somebody that can just, it's very accessible. Somebody can just go and open up the closet, and there's the servers, and there's all of your proprietary company information, and very easy for somebody to do some damage. Or by the nature of the fact that they're employees, they have access to all of the data that your company relies upon, and so it's very easy for them to, again, go and delete that data or make copies of it and get it into the wrong hands. So, the cloud computing environments. If you have never been to one, I encourage you to do so. It really is amazing to just spend an hour or so walking around one of those facilities. A lot of them give tours, so you can get a tour, particularly if you're a potential customer.